I want to start by showing you a very scary visual. That satellite visual of the weather. And you'll see that for these states, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, interior Karnataka, it is almost cloudless, which is terrifying because we're in the middle of June. And in Mumbai, where I live, by now we should be complaining about waterlogging and, sort of whinging and bitching about the weather because it's raining constantly, but it hasn't rained a drop. It's hot as hell, really, in Mumbai. And there's no monsoon to speak of, and that should make us really worried. To sort of compare what we should have been doing by now, I want to put up this visual. This I pulled up from the monsoon report of the IMD. The Met Department puts out a report every year after the monsoon is over. If you zoom in to the western side, you'll see the red lines are when the monsoon should normally hit. So 1st June, 5th June, 10th June, by 20th June, it's in Gujarat. The blue lines is when it hit last year. And it came in early last year, 24th May by, and if you see that big red, the big green thing, it says by 27 June, the entire country was covered in the southwest monsoon. This time there is no southwest monsoon to speak of. It is missing completely. And that is what we're going to look at, because if it doesn't rain, what is going to happen to India in terms of agriculture, food security, economy, stock market? Where will all of this be left finally? And then, of course, the heat and the lack of water and electricity. That's what we're going to look at in this video. Before we get started, a reminder to like, share, subscribe, and sign up for our membership. But I want to thank you because we are at 1,000 members on our YouTube, and that makes me so happy that we've managed to put out a quality product enough that 1,000 people thought it was worth their buck. And I'm extremely grateful to you, for participating in our journey. Of course, remember, we put out a bulletin every day. We put out an editorial meeting, accountability meeting once a month, and we give you access to our content exclusively before we put it out to everybody else. So sign up for our membership and be 1001, and we will welcome you with open arms. All right, let's talk about what's happening with the monsoon, which is why we're here. 15 days, less than 15 days of its arrival in India, the monsoon vanished completely. Rainfall is 64% below what it should be. According to the IMD, we've received about 19 mm of rain. We should have gotten 53 mm of rain by now. And like I showed you, the visual of the satellite visual of the weather is actually pretty stark, and it's quite scary, really. So let's talk about what went wrong. Why are we facing this right now? The biggest factor is the El Nino event that's building in the Pacific Ocean. So basically, Pacific waters become very hot, or they become hotter than they should be. And that heat then changes global wind patterns, and it weakens the moisture carrying winds that bring rain to India. And we are facing one of those events right now. That's the biggest one. The second one is, of course, the monsoon being late. The third is Western disruptions. So, weather systems coming in from the Mediterranean and West Asia have been interfering with the normal advance of our monsoon. And the fact that parts of Maharashtra, Vidarbha, Madhya Pradesh, North India have seen significant delays. Some areas have received only thunderstorms and no rain at all, which is why we've seen no rain whatsoever. So the monsoon has continued to advance geographically. Technically, there is some like ghost of a monsoon that is coming, but it's not bringing any real rain, and that is the problem. The forecasts indicate rainfall activity could improve from the end of this week onwards, could possibly, keeping our fingers crossed, but already we've had enough damage to say that it's going to be a weak monsoon. Now, one of the reactions that I got on social media when I put up the notice about the weak monsoon were people saying, oh, we're cutting trees and we're destroying forests and we're destroying wetlands, and this is what you get. So I do want to make this clear. Did we make the problem worse? In this particular case, India did not lose its monsoon because we cut down trees. This year's missing rains are because of global weather patterns. But the decades that we have dedicated to ruining our own environment by chopping down forests and shrinking our wetlands and, chopping up our mangroves and rapid urbanization. So you create these heat islands which just absorb more and more heat and become hotter and hotter, means that we are less resilient than we once were to a weak monsoon, which means that we've got these urban centers that are guzzling fuel, and we are guzzling electricity, and we're guzzling water, and we're chopping up forests to feed our urban centers. So our cities are becoming hot, and they're chewing up all the fuel, and so we don't have natural systems to store water. Groundwater is depleting, and that doesn't protect us from drought. So actually, what this does is make us more vulnerable and less resilient to the possibility of a weak monsoon, because when you chop up the forest, then the water runs off and it doesn't soak into the ground, and so your groundwater depletes, your rivers are polluted and are running dry, your wetlands have been built upon, and so that is a larger problem. Now, let's take a look at how bad the shortfall is so far. According to the IMD's map, Maharashtra is at an 80% deficit, and that is a shocking number. Gujarat is at 98% deficit. Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh are at 65% and Meghalaya at 85%. Karnataka, Telangana, Orissa, Bihar are also reporting deficient rainfall, but it is not as bad as Maharashtra or as Gujarat. The situation is particularly concerning because that stretch that you see, this is where the Kharif crop normally is sowed in June. There's another unusual feature. While the mainland remains cloud-free, we are seeing that over the Bay of Bengal and northwestern India, there's definitely there's uneven distribution of moisture, and that is preventing the monsoon from spreading equally across the country. So delayed rains is going to cause concern for those who sow in June. So paddy, which means rice, soybean, cotton, pulses, and that will definitely go forward and affect food prices. The forecast models suggest that moisture inflow may get better after the 21st of June. But like I said already, the situation is pretty bad. It's so bad that Maharashtra is telling its farmers not to sow. Do not be in a hurry to sow. The crop situation is being reviewed district by district. Like I said, we only received 27 mm of rainfall in Maharashtra. We should have received 100 mm by now. So preparatory agricultural activities, including nursery raising of paddy, finger millet, pre-sowing, have all been put on hold. In Vidarbha, which is sort of the central, Maharashtra central to India, the heat wave is persisting at a time when we should be in monsoon. Among the cities worst hit is the city of Mumbai. And this is really important. Water levels in the 7 lakes that feed Mumbai is down to 10%. And when you're at 10%, you're actually now dealing with silt more than clear water. And that is why it becomes even more of a problem. The BMC, which is our municipal corporation, has announced that it is suspending water to construction sites, swimming pools, and it will impose a 20% cut to industrial and commercial establishments. Now, these restrictions will come into effect starting today. The civic body has also curbed water supply to the aerated beverage and packaged drinking water bottled plants. Mumbai currently requires 4,664 million liters of water per day, but it receives about 4,100. Now, the civic administration has asked public toilet operators to use tanker and borewell water, advise residents and institutions to rely on borewell or tanker water for non-portable purposes like vehicle washing, watering gardens, and cleaning of roads. The BMC has also said the Central and Western Railways, BPCL, HPCL, Indian Navy, MIDC, Port Authority should maximize the use of treated sewage water for operational purposes as much as possible. Apart from this, Pawai Lake, situated in Mumbai, which supplies water to the city for industrial use, is also running low right now. The water from this lake is not potable, so you can't drink it, but you can use it for other purposes. When the lake is full, it normally overflows into the Mithi River. That lake is also in low supply right now. The other city that is badly affected is Pune. Pune is now receiving water only on alternate days because its reservoir levels have declined so drastically. The decision follows Maharashtra's irrigation department. Pune depends primarily on dams that are close by. It currently requires 1,600 million liters per day. It's receiving 1,100. And of course, vehicle washing centers, public swimming pools have been closed in Pune. Construction projects have been asked not to use municipal drinking water. Hotels, restaurants, and other commercial establishments are being asked to, start saving water as much as possible. Both in Mumbai and Pune, there has been a sharp rise in the demand for bottled drinking water, according to some of the sources that have come up. So this is what's happening completely right now. Will the shortage of rain lead to a shortage of food? So history offers a mixed record. So in 2002, when there was an El Nino event, 21% of the national rainfall was at deficit. In 2015, it was about 13%. But in those years, since those years, India's food production has actually done really well. So recently, the last El Nino we saw was in 2023, and at that point, we actually produced 332 million tons of food, which was higher than the previous year. And then last year, we also did really well in food, growth, which means that shortage may not happen because we've got enough stored in our godowns and we've got enough of a supply. The vulnerability is specifically to rice because rice needs rain in June. And if it's very, very hot, also what happens is there will be pests and disease in the crop because the heat actually creates that. But in terms of food availability to feed our 1.4 billion people, apparently, according to the government, we have enough food stored. The challenge is for the economy. Now, in India, 64% of Indians depend on agriculture for their livelihood. A below normal rainfall will mean that these people will have borrowed money to sow and they're not going to be able to do it, or crops will get destroyed standing in the field if possible, if that's the case. And so you will have more and more people in debt and unable to run their homes. About 55% of India's net sown area is irrigated, the remaining is rain fed. So there will be a lot of farmers who will be struggling because they're going to have a bad season. So the heat and the water scarcity will also shoot up costs. They will need more diesel. They will need costs for resowing. They will need costs for irrigation. And that is going to cause a challenge. What has the government said? Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that we are facing a lot of challenges. Remember, crude oil prices, foreign exchange movements, fertilizer costs because of Iran, and the possibility of a weaker monsoon is actually putting more pressure on us. She said the government is preparing for a less favorable monsoon and has maintained buffer stocks to handle disruption in food supply. Fertilizer prices might go up even further, and that will cause more pain for farmers. What does this mean for the economy? According to a report by Frontwave Research, 16% of our economy is agriculture, 46% of the jobs are rural sector, 70% of the rain is dependent on monsoon. And so food inflation is likely to go up. So basically, the challenge will be for rural households who will not make any money out of this season. Food will become more expensive for them. And as a result, there will be an impact on our economy, specifically consumption in our economy. So if we look at the NSSO data, our country's household consumption is 50% rural, which means that you will see a hit for two-wheeler companies, you will see a hit for fast-moving consumer goods. So guys like Hindustan Unilever, Dabur, Marico, Imami, all of those two-wheeler companies that normally sell to entry-level customers, specifically in rural India. When there's a good monsoon, two-wheelers and tractors sell well in India. The other challenge that we will have is, of course, electricity, because we still have a fair amount of electricity that is generated from hydropower plants. No monsoon, which means the water is low, and that means we cannot generate as much electricity at a time when the electricity demand will be high because of the heat, people running more fans and more air conditioners, and so on. Um, Basically, for most Indians, a weak monsoon will lead to lower reservoir levels, which will lead to water restrictions, lower farm output, higher food prices, and then, of course, pain in our stock market and pain in our economy. So, for now, at least, we're not talking about a full scale drought. We're just waiting to see how it is. India has seen weak months of June in the past, so we can wait for maybe a week or two to say that this is really bad times. Farmers will just delay sowing until they know for sure. The monsoon can still recover. It's not all bad. But we do have to take a look at resilience, because I remember when I was in school and we were taught that India's farmers depend on the monsoon. And that's a very bad and sad thing, and we should be able to do something about it. And it's been decades, and India's farmers are still depending on the monsoon, and we've not done enough to change that. And to make matters worse, we have ravaged through our environment. We don't have the resilience environmentally to actually sustain ourselves through a bad monsoon. We've run through our groundwater, we've run through our rivers, we've run through our forests. This is something that India needs to take more seriously, because with the climate change, we will have more adverse weather events. And unfortunately, with the largest population in the world, the largest number of hungry people in the world, the largest number of people who need help and looking after during adverse weather events, India will have to be more responsible. But how, depending on how we actually look after our environment, how we build water reserves, how we harvest our rainwater, how we care for our people and our environment, because the two things are completely linked. Leave me a comment in the comment section on what you believe India should be doing going forward, and if you think this is something we've brought on ourselves.